Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. I am welcome all of you for this alumni webinar, Effective Communication and Human Relationship. First of all, I welcome our resource person, Mrs. Anbarasi Ramesh, Nursing Superintendent, Apollo Hospitals, Bangalore. Madam, she completed her undergraduation in PSG College of Nursing, 1997 to 2001, and she completed her PG in Rajiv Gandhi University, Karnataka. Then currently she is working as a nursing superintendent in Apollo Hospitals, Bangalore. Madam, her accomplishments are, Madam is the gold medalist in undergraduation 2000, and she is the first rank holder also. And she was the resource person for many national, international conferences and workshops. And she organized many conferences and seminars in national level and international level. And she is the NABH accreditation holder during the year 2018-19. And now we have called a apt person for this webinar, because Madam has already organized workshops on human relationships. So I welcome you, ma'am, for this session. Ma'am, platform is yours. I am handing over the session to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajeshwari. Thanks a lot. You've enabled the screen share. You have not enabled.
Yes, ma'am. Now you can share your screen, ma'am.
Okay. A very good afternoon to one and all here. Guys, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
On the response from the students end. I think the classroom is quiet. The classroom is quiet. Ask them to raise their hands if they can hear me.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Students, you can.
You all can hear me?
Students, you can unmute and
Are
talk.
you all able to hear me? You can unmute.
Yes,
You can unmute
ma'am.
very well. Yes, you all can hear me.
Yes, ma'am.
Absolutely. Fine. Okay. So just before starting the session, this session is actually, truly speaking, a very boring session, I should say. Because communication is one topic which most of them will be involving with and taking sessions. It's boring topic. How many of you agree with me? Students, please raise your hands if you agree with me that this topic is a really boring topic. Every time people talk about communication, relationships, how to talk. Do you agree with me?
No, ma'am.
No? But I feel that this is really a boring topic because I've heard so many sessions, lectures, talks, held up with many things when I'm completely bored out of this topic. I know most of the sessions on communication which I've attended, it was all lectures. But this session is not going to be a lecture. I'm determined on that point. I'm not going to have a lecture here. I'm going to have practical sessions, and it is more of interactive sessions only. Let me see how many of your batch team members are active here. Okay, please raise your hands. Are you all awake? Only boys are awake. Okay, good. Very good to see that. Okay. So today I'm not going to discuss anything about what is communication, what are the tools of communication, how are we supposed to do, what is do, don'ts, receiver, sender, this, that, nothing. I'm going to discuss everything very practically. So this session is all about, I'm going to give a scenario where you are going to respond to me back how you're supposed to act or how you're supposed to actually handle that situation. So that's what I'm going to deal mostly. So it's all going to be completely practical. So unmute all your, whichever systems you're working in, please unmute. I wanted all of you to participate in this session. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm just going to lead you all. That's it. Fine. So Rajeshwari has given a beautiful introduction about me. I will also introduce myself. I'm Anbarasi Ramesh. I was studying, my basic foundation was from PhD. I'm so proud that I'm back. I'm just taking a session for PhD students here because you people understand what kind of platform you're in once you leave out of PhD only. Because the kind of exposure you get is rarely given for most of the nursing students. So utilize the maximum opportunity right from first year, and then definitely you'll excel in your life. That is offshore. We are live examples of PhD, and I'm proud to be a part of PhD. I'm proud to say that I'm an alumni of PhD. Okay, let me start the session now. Sorry, 1 second. Couldn't able to share my screen. 1 second. Yeah, I couldn't able to share my screen. Da. Purtita, she has disabled. She has disabled.
Not disabled.
Rajeshwari, have you given access for me to share the screen? I think it is not. Can you check on that? Host disabled.
We made you as a co-host, ma'am. So you can share your screen. Ma'am, one more time, please try, ma'am. Otherwise, we will do it here.
Illada. Okay.
Okay, number of screen.
Share now. So,
Sorry, I couldn't able to share dear once. I'm stuck in here.
இங்க இருக்குன்னு பாருங்க ஒரு நிமிஷம் ஓபன் பண்ணி பாருங்க இதுல என்ன இருக்கு ஐபி கம்யூனிகேஷன் இருக்கா ஓபன் பண்ணி வச்சிருந்தேனே லிங்க்ஸ் பண்ணிட்டு பண்ண முடியாது டெஸ்க்டாப்ல தான் இருக்கு கம்யூனிகேஷன் இல்லை Ma'am, it's seen.
No, not that dear. Sorry. 1 second.
Okay, ma'am.
ஓப்பனே பண்ணல
நான் ஓபன் பண்ணி வச்சிருந்தேன் அது ஏன் வெளியில நான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணி வச்சேன் ஆல்ரெடி மேடம் சொன்னாங்க எல்லாம் ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க ஓபன் பண்ணுங்க வாட்ஸ்அப் எல்லாம் ஓபன் பண்ணுங்க
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Open the window. Here.
Only thing you can put it as slideshow, ma'am. Presentation mode.
No, it's actually.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
ma'am.
let's start. Okay. Yeah. So it's just introduction about what is nursing. So I've given a clear definition of what is nursing from Florence Nightingale. Nursing is an art. If it is to be made an art, it requires an exclusive devotion as art, a preparation, as any painter's or sculptor's work. For what is the having to do with dead canvas or dead marble, compared with having to do with the living body, the temple of God's Spirit. It's one of the finest arts, almost said the finest of fine arts. So how many people agree with it saying that nursing is as an art? Because most of the time we think that nursing is a profession. But generally speaking, nursing is not a profession. We should take it like an art because it is all about how you deal with skill and knowledge. Okay, this is what generally I wanted to inculcate in your minds before starting my session. Our profession, that is nursing, is not a profession. It is an art of doing things. You should keep that in your mind because as a painter does sculpture work or a painting, we should also work in such culture saying that nursing should be meant like that. So when you deal nursing as a fine art, definitely the output, what you get out of it is extremely, it will be good. That is what is very, very important for young nurses now. Because we always feel that we wanted to go abroad, we wanted to earn money. So we think that nursing is a profession. So by then we involve in such a way for earning money, we just do this. But that's not the case. We have to handle this profession as an art. That is what is more important. When you feel that this is about handling patients and art, then definitely you will be the best nurse. So please keep that as fresh nurses in your mind. It will help you all to excel in your career. Okay. So I'm not going to deal with all the human relation topics which are going to be additionally a burden to you all. So I'm going to deal only 5 key things which are very essential and basic. Which you learn all these 5 things, definitely it will help you in your career. So these are the 5 things. I want to talk something about how to communicate, what is empathy, what is about teamwork, what is about decision making, and what is about interpersonal skills. So these are the 5 areas which I'm going to deal now. I'm not going to deal anything in detail about it. I will just talk about the practical scenarios and how we are supposed to handle it. The basic things I'll
Ma'am,
deal with.
excuse me, ma'am.
Sorry?
Ma'am, we can't see the slide, ma'am.
Okay. Can you see now?
Ma'am, we
Can
can see
you,
only the first slide, ma'am.
really? Oh God. Rajeshwari, it's better that you share it here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Please do so now. I'll stop sharing.
Yes, ma'am.
Please do so.
Ma'am, I will share it.
Do so quickly.
there's a network issue, ma'am. We'll just try one more time, ma'am.
Okay, please do it.
Divya, what is it? திவ்யா அவங்களுக்கு மறுபடியும் வரலையா? இது என்னன்னு பா திவ்யா?
Raji, just wait. Let me try it again. Raji, can you do it?
We are trying, ma'am. Communication card. Desktop எடுக்க முடியுமா பாரு. Education, the communication. Ma'am, students, can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Go to the second slide, please.
Yes. Are you able to see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Ma'am, you can continue, ma'am.
Now go to the third slide.
Yes, ma'am. This one.
No, the previous slide.
Yeah.
So these are the 5 things which I told that I'm going to deal with. So I'm not going to detailedly explain what is what. I'm going to just point out the key things because the practical issues which we have faced on all these 5 areas, which I'm going to discuss. Only those 5 areas. Okay. Yeah, next slide. So first thing is communication. Please move on. Next slide here, Raji. Even I'm also facing the same network issue. I couldn't able to move it on.
Ma'am, slide is not moving. I'm just trying, ma'am.
This is what is also happening to me also here.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a minute. Let me try it again. You close it. I'll share the screen once again.
Yes, ma'am.
Shall I try? You
Yes,
close
ma'am.
it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You stop sharing. I'll just do it. I'll try it once again.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Move on, huh? Ma'am, it's moving now, ma'am. Ma'am?
Lali, is it?
It's moving. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. It's moving.
Go to the next slide then.
This one, ma'am?
The next one.
Ma'am?
Next.
Okay.
It's not moving there.
It's moving here. It's not. No, it's not moving.
It's not moving.
Yes, ma'am.
Guys, it's getting late. Can I try once?
Ma'am, it's okay, ma'am. It's okay. But it's moving, ma'am, because others also join. They can see this moving.
So which is the slide it is happening now? I don't know. It's stuck onto all the essential soft skills for nurses.
That's communication skills. That's communication skills.
Is it showing that?
Yeah.
But I couldn't able to see that. I am seeing only the 5 parameters which have.
No, ma'am.
What's happening?
It's moving, ma'am.
Okay, dear. Fine. So which slide we are in? We are in communication skills, right?
Yes, ma'am. That essential skills for nurses. That slide, ma'am.
Next slide. Please go to the next slide.
This one.
Please go to the next slide.
It's getting a little late, I think, ma'am.
I don't know. I
The
didn't think it will be so bad.
effective communication. That slide, ma'am. No.
No,
Ma'am,
I couldn't take this.
can you try one more time, ma'am? Can you share?
Yeah, that's what you stop sharing. I will share once, please.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Oh God, what's happening? Remy, please come to my room. Remy, please come. Can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am. We can see. Only you have to put it as a PowerPoint slide presentation mode.
No, you asked the mom whether the screen can be seen.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Second slide.
No, it's it's not in the slideshow mode, ma'am. Just we are seeing the first slide.
So you. One second. You keep it in slideshow mode. It's in slideshow mode only, no? Yeah. It's already 12:20. Oh God.
Then sorry.
That's it. Thank you.
I think some network issues is there.
This one.
Not really good to sharing. Hello? Who is this? Yes, ma'am. 1 second. I'm not able to put it out today. It is getting stuck again. Get it. A minute. Let me see.
Ma'am? Ma'am?
Leave out of the meeting. Let me just join in. Leave the meeting.
Unmute பண்ணேன். Ma'am, Anbu ma'am. Ma'am.
Raji, can you see me? Raji, can you see me sharing?
We can see, ma'am. The first slide we can see. Yeah, first slide we can see. But you move the slides, ma'am, we will see.
1 minute.
Only the first slide we can see.
Can you see? Go to the next screen. Next slide, you are able to see?
No, ma'am. The first screen itself is there.
I don't know. I don't know really.
Yes, ma'am. I will share the screen, ma'am.
I'll stop sharing.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm really stuck here. Time is also getting late. I don't know what is the network issue. The first slide is getting, but other slides are not moving. We're not having maybe.
Students, can you see the slides?
No, ma'am.
No?
What they were saying?
Oh, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No? Shared, no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. We have shared
Okay, we go to the next slide.
this one.
Next slide.
Yes, I have moved, ma'am.
Yeah, I moved it, but it is not reflecting here. It is showing in communication skills. Go to the next slide, please.
Ma'am, it's a case study, that slide, ma'am, here.
Nope, nope. Before that. Before that.
No?
It is not moving.
Ma'am, for other participants, it's moving, ma'am. I think there is some issue, I think.
Okay, fine. That case, I will go for it then. So you have opened the slide on communication.
Skill.
Okay. So, fine. Guys, let's get back to the track.
Okay, ma'am.
I know it is really tough, but I have to go for it. I've lost my 30 minutes also. Anyways, fine. So you all know about communication. So people would have spoken many things about communication. 4 key things which is playing a very major role for nurses is, first thing is your open-mindedness. What does it mean, open-mindedness here? Open-mindedness means, first of all, you should be willing to take up that communication as an important part. First, you should be having that clear mindset and also willing to do the communication with the counterpart. It can be any health worker, it can be the patient relatives, it can be anyone, it can be a dietitian, it can be a physiotherapist. First of all, you should have the willingness to communicate. I've seen most of the nurses, first point is they will not have that willingness. They will see that I have so many work, I'm handling this, why should I communicate to the dietitian? I will not be having time to talk to a physiotherapist. Why should I mingle with a junior consultant? This is what is the major problem which happens with most of the nurses. Just take out that resistance which you have. First point is, if you are communicating and mingling with all your nurses and counterpart, it's really well and good, but that is not enough. You have to have that open-mindedness to mingle with each and every healthcare workers we are working in even the housekeeping people. That open-mindedness is lacking with most of the nurses. I see that they will be having a lot of communication among the nurses, but not with others. That is what is the major thing which I have seen in most of the nurses. Break that monotony, take out, you have to mingle with each and everyone there. And the second key thing which I should say here is listening. Listening plays a major role here. We will not have time to listen to people. So we'll be busy with administration of medications, we'll be following with dressing, we'll have a schedule of work in your workplace. So what happens is we will not have time to listen to people. Most of the times when you listen to people, what they are trying to explain to you, and you have the patience to listen, almost most of the problems will settle. So that is what is, I could quote many examples. I've seen practically many examples because they don't have time to listen to people, they have lost it. Few of the patients in ICU where the attendant would have tried to explain something, they would have listened, then most of the problems would have been sorted by the doctors even. So where listening plays a key role for communication skill. And third thing is, when they communicate with you, how do you react back to them? Facial expressions. You will be busy with many things. You'll be doing. I've seen this. A call bell will be given by the nurse, by the patients. The nurse attends, and further then she comes out of the room. Followed by that, the attender will come back and he will try to explain something. She'll be busy writing the notes. She'll never look up and see the patient attendant, neither the patient relative who is coming down to explain something. That simple note of facial expression or showing back to the relatives, that will make a difference. Facial expressions also adds on, because you don't think that patients are not knowing anything. They will Google and they will be knowing more than what is their condition. So if you suppose if you meet a diabetic patient, they will be knowing what is short-acting insulin, long-acting insulin, when they are supposed to take, what medications they are supposed to take, along with it, which are the contraindications, what diet they are supposed to do, everything they'll be knowing it. So don't underestimate the patients. They will be knowing more knowledge than us. So when you are communicating your facial expressions, one simple gesture, what you show to the patients, they will identify whether you are interested towards the patient or not. And the fourth thing is your tone and voice. Few of the nurses I've seen, most of the time it is in charges, they will have good heart, but they will not be knowing how to communicate. By the tone and voice, it differs. They'll be looking rude. The tone and voice actually plays a major role here. So these are the four things. First, keep your mind open that you are going to communicate with every member of the hospital. And second thing is willing to listen and having good facial expressions and tone and voice. If you have all these four basic things, you will be a good communicator. Okay, so keeping all these four in mind, I'm going to give you a scenario now. Tell me, how will you act in this scenario? So you might be gone to the hospital. You will not have an experience as a clinical nurse, but still think how to act on this situation. So go to the case scenario of communication skill. Rajeshwari, please move to the communication skill case scenario. So I'm going to give a case scenario here. Tell me how you can react to it. This is the case. A postnatal mother on day 2. Diet was not served on time, and the husband got annoyed and called the nurse and started bursting out at the nurse, who is nowhere related to diet advice at any point. You know, the dietitian takes a call. There is a dietary department. There is a service team which is involved into food. So you are not involved into any of this. But the husband is so caring. He is taking care of the postnatal mother. He is taking care of the baby there. The food is delayed for some reasons. You don't know what are the reasons. You as a nurse entering the room, you saw the patient. The husband is there. He's annoyed a lot and he started yelling at you and he's bursting out. Now tell me, how will you handle this situation? You have to have all your communication skills here to handle this tough husband, because he's showing off to the wife saying that I am carrying her. So maybe, or he's so angry that his wife did not get the food on time where she's feeding the baby. Come on, kids, tell me, how will you handle this situation? Anyone? Please unmute and tell me. Any idea? We are already getting late, guys.
Students, you can unmute and tell.
How will you handle this situation?
Ma'am,
Yes,
first of all, I hear the problems from him, understand him, why the food was late, and make sure I'll provide the food within 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
Okay. But do you think will it solve the problem? So when you are saying that, yes, I know that the food is delayed, what are you doing here? You are putting the counterparts of your healthcare team down, saying that the diet team did not do the service on time. Isn't it? You are agreeing that, yes, my team members have not served you the food. One good thing you said is you will listen to the problem, what he said. Exactly, that's a good action, but that's not the right answer. You are not supposed to handle the situation this way. Can anyone tell me how we can handle the situation? Anyone? So, you know, guys, anyone? Yes, please. Come on.
Ma'am,
Guys,
we have to inform to the dietary department and we have to find out what is the reason for delay.
Will that solve the problem here? Will that solve the problem with the, will the husband will be, pacified by your answer? Yes, already furious about you, saying that the food is not come. He's annoyed. So by then you will go back to the dietary department, you're checking, you're doing is all fine. But how will you pacify him in that situation? You have to give a genuine answer to him saying that yes, you are not, it's not going to help you being anger. We will take care of you. How will you answer to him? These are all things which will you do later on by doing an RCA and finding out and helping to solve the problem. But I'm asking you, how will you handle that particular situation when he is angry? One thing which one of the students said that you will listen to the patient. Yes, that's really important. We have to listen. She listened. How will you react? How will you react? Not emotionally, with a genuine answer. Shall I come up with the answer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, fine. So here, when I'm a nurse, I'm walking, I'm going inside the patient room. I know that the patient's husband is angry. First thing as a smart nurse, what I'll do is completely listen to him with good eye contact. Never look down, never divert yourself or try to deviate from your, getting the eyesight or moving your eye contact from the patient. You should look at the eye of the patient saying that, yes, I'm listening to you. That should be your attitude. Second, you have to know about the patient's condition completely. Saying that, sir, the baby is delivered this morning. So we have ordered a plan of schedule for this patient. For instance, if this mother is 30 years old woman and she is diabetic or non-diabetic or with some comorbidities, if she's having, you have to know the complete condition of the patient. That is a smart nurse will know. She should know about the complete case of the baby and the mother. You should know it. You should tell that, sir, I know the diet is getting delayed. You should say in such a way saying that, yes, you already know the problem. You should not admit saying that, yes, I don't know. Because we are putting the dietary department and the nutrition department into a trouble saying that the diet is delayed. You should answer in such a way, sir, there is a team of experts who are dealt with this diet. So they will see the height, weight of your wife. They will see the age of your wife. Based on that, a team of experts are there. They will design a special food for you. And this food will be arriving shortly. That is the reason why the delay could be. This is how you have to respond to the patient saying that here, many things you did. You listened to the condition of the patient. And second thing is you're not putting the co-partners of your the health workers down. And additionally, you solved the problem. I know within 5 minutes, you're going to get the food. This is how we have to handle this situation. You have to be proactively saying an answer to him saying that when the husband is listening to this saying that, oh God, they are going to discuss about my wife's diet, height, weight, calculating the protein, carbohydrates, how many calories my wife is supposed to get. Everything is calculated in a nice way and the food will be in that way. So he will also understand that, yes, I'm going to get a good food for my wife. And then within 5 minutes, you get the food is fine. But this is how we have to handle and smartly handle the patient. This is what is advanced communication skill you should develop. When you give a statement to the patient, keep in your mind saying that you are not going to affect the whole system of the hospital. Neither you are going to put down the hospital at any point, neither your co-health workers. Yes, you can go back, yell at the dietary department saying that you are late. Just because of that, my patient is getting delayed in food. You can yell at them, but that's the good communication skill works. Guys, you have to grow because we cannot be there in the same sweet time saying that, accepting to the patient, sorry, I'm sorry, I did this has happened. Such statements will not help now, because the demand from the patient is very high. You have to work very, very, very smartly here. You shouldn't be hard workers. I'll tell you, that is the trick here. Nurses shouldn't be hard workers. They should be smart workers. This is how you have to handle the situation. So let me give one more scenario. Let me see how you people handle this. The next scenario is this. A nagging patient calls the nurse frequently and orders her to do simple things which is more irritating and unavoidable. Did you get the point here? So there is a nagging patient is continuously calling the nurse for simple things. I'll tell you. He'll call the nurse to the room saying that, can you switch on the fan? Can you keep my left leg over the right leg? Or can you give me a cup of water? Something like that. He will call for simple reasons. Such a nagging patient. He is having a belief that he's paying, he's having the demand to the nurse. That's the attitude of this patient. Now tell me, how will you handle this patient? Use all your communication skills here.
We have to say the positive review of previous patient, or have the same history.
How does it help, dear? How does it help? It's not going to help him anyway, because he knows about the hospital. That's why he came and he has got admitted. He knows the positiveness of this hospital. How does it help? So he is very irritating. Did you understand the scenario? You are a nurse there. He's calling you for simple things. You are held up with many clinical things, but it is not helping him. He is just calling you for simple things. We don't know what is the reason. His demand is high. He's not calling you for valuable reasons. How will you handle this patient? Tell me. Anyone? These are all common problems which you face when you are a nurse in the hospital. Guys, anyone? I see a group of boys sitting there. Anyone? Anyone can answer this? How will you handle this nagging patient? He's very irritating. No answers? No one knows how to handle this patient?
Ma'am,
Okay.
we have to console them.
Console them. Why? Is he is he having so much of sorrowness, or he's in sadness? Why you have to console him? It's not going to help him console.
Ma'am, she is so tense now, ma'am. So it can help them.
No, he's not tensed at any point. So how to handle this nagging patient? We see alternate days such patients. So what is this problem is, his demand is very high. He is paying to the hospital. He wants the nurses to help him. He's treating them like that. So we don't want to argue with them. First, don't do argue. Second thing is, never ever show any facial expressions or a gesture saying that, God, you are such an ailing patient. Why are you irritating me? You shouldn't show any of the gestures. Have the smile on your face every time when you see the patient. Third thing, never discuss any of these problems. Sometimes the relatives will come for anything to the nurse's station. You shouldn't tell them also saying that, why is he calling often? Why can't he help him? Such conversations you shouldn't have with any of them. So this is what is the most common thing which happens in our nursing department, saying that they will come out, they'll discuss with other people, they discuss with common people saying that this patient is an irritating patient. He calls me for simple things I don't know how to handle. This is what is happening. But that's not the way. First thing is, we should understand, we are nurses, we should have our own dignity. We are not supposed to bend down for any reasons. If we do mistakes also, human error happens. It is inevitable. So what you're supposed to do is, if errors are happening, accept the mistake and see that you are not going to repeat it again. That's what we should do it genuinely. When such patients are there, you are not doing any mistake here. You should strongly speak for us and then go near the patient room. He might call first time, second time, third time, fourth time. Attend the patient calmly Never show anything. The 5th time when you enter the room, that's where you have to be smartly doing. Just knock the door. Yes, may I come in, sir? You have to enter the room. Just address what is his need. Address the need. Then post that. When you are about to leave the room, after finishing the 5th need of the patient, just look at the patient's eye. You should have the eye contact with the patient and firmly, very firmly, you have to talk to them saying, sir, yes, sir. Do you want anything else to be done for you? This is the tone you are supposed to use. When I'm using this tone, you should understand that I'm not too rude, neither I am not too submissive. I'm very, that is a certain line you have to follow. Sir, is there anything else I have to do for you? Please let me know now. This is how we have to address the patient. When I'm looking at the eye contact of the patient, definitely he will also understand that, yes, this lady is knowing that what I'm doing. He will definitely know. And definitely, he's not going to call you for the next time. He says that, no, sister, I will not be calling you for anything henceforth. Are you sure, sir? You have anything else? Please let me know now. I'm going to handle another patient now. Maybe a sick patient, you can tell. That's how we have to handle such patients. This is what is a proper way of handling a nagging patient. So we should be firmly talking to the patient back saying that you are wrong, you are mishandling me. But you have to directly tell him, you have to tell him saying that before leaving the room, you say that, do you want anything else to do for you? Are you sure? Let me leave the room. I'm handling few other sick patients, sir. Do you want anything else? Look at the patient and talk. That will solve this problem. Communication is not about dealing with simple things. You handle a difficult patient, you handle with your colleagues, you handle with other department workers, sometimes you deal with doctors. So it is all about a comprehensive thing. And basic things which I'm trying to tell is, you should be very proactive when you're talking with your team members. Be sensible when you're talking with your team members. Never ever be too loose. So it may affect your career also. So be cautious when you're communicating. So these are the things which I am trying to give you. These 2 case scenarios, I think so, this will give you an idea how you are supposed to communicate as a nurse in your team, with your team members and also with patients. I've taken 2 difficult situations actually, because the nursing is upgraded to many levels now. We are not in the same standard. The quality has improved, our lifestyle has improved, our qualifications have improved, our specializations have improved, but still we are felt lower, and we are not, I mean, our ego is very low when compared to doctors or other team members. That's why I'm telling you, these 2 scenarios which I've showcased, you should understand how you are supposed to perform as a nurse in the clinical area. Okay? You have to empower yourself. Skill and knowledge, you can empower further, but communication skill also plays a key role here. Okay, let me go to the second topic now here, that is empathy. So communication skills I've handled. You know what is supposed to be the advanced nurse looking now, a modern nurse looking now. That's how we should be smart. The second thing which I'm going to deal is empathy. You all know what is sympathy. Sympathy is what we feel pity for someone, but empathy is what we are supposed to have as a nurse. It is something plays a very key role, because that is the basic quality of any nurse, I would say. There are 4 key things which I have also focused here. So the old topic which I have dealt is, I have not taken a normal downloaded any Google Sheets or anything. It is absolutely practically what we felt in the departments. We have done a study on many things. Based on that, we have taken all these 4 key points for all the parameters which I have taken. So the 4 key parameters for empathy is, first thing is, you should be emotionally bound with the patient. You should have that emotional bonding with the patient. That is very important. Then only empathy will develop. And second thing is, you should have that cognitiveness. What is cognitiveness is, when you're dealing a patient, you should know what is going on in his mind, what is reasoning going on in his mind, what is the thinking going on in his mind, what is the judgment going on in his mind. So you should have that cognitive character, saying that you should have thinking, analyzing, judging, all these parameters should be there while getting into cognitive actions. And next is, We should have morality. For instance, if a patient who is admitted for something, and you should know what is the right action and what is the wrong action for the patient. Morally, you should act with the patient. Morality plays a key role here. Okay? Never ever do wrong things which may be right for you, but morally it is wrong. Don't do it. Okay? Right things which is morally right, you are supposed to follow. And the fourth parameter is your behavior. How do you react to the patient? Your action towards the patient. That is what is more important. When you have good morality, right cognition, emotionally bound to the patient, definitely your behavior will be reacted. Sympathy is all about all these four key factors. Okay? Sympathy is not, I mean, empathy is not about handling the patient or putting them in their shoes and handling. For instance, if a patient is underwent abortion, how will you handle this patient? Or suppose if a patient has lost his limb, how will you handle this patient? Just not feeling pity for it. You should morally involve him. We should have that thinking and reasoning and judging how the patient is undergoing the pain, how the patient is undergoing the loss. We should have that cognitive relationship. Adaptiveness of the cognition is very important here. And finally, the behavior will be, expleted out of it. So I put a case study here for empathy also. A couple who have lost their first baby after delivery due to complications. They are highly distressed and lost. So you understand the scenario here? The couple has lost the baby. It's the first baby they have lost. What as a nurse you can do here? What out of the box you can think and do for the patient here? Please think and let me know. I want anyone to answer from the group here. First year group was sitting there. You understood the question, right? Boys or girls? Anyone? How will you address this patient when they have lost the baby? I am handling everything practically because I am handling most of the cases like this. I don't want it to be very theoretical. That's what I'm giving you the scenario. I want the answers now. They lost the baby. They are crying. They are in complete sorrowness. As a nurse, within your limits, how can you help? How can you be so empathetic? Can anyone tell me? Guys, we are running out of time, please. Rajeshwari, your team is not proactive.
They are so active. I don't know why they are keeping students.
Good. Yes, good. What's your name?
George.
George. Very good, George. Please tell me, how will you handle this patient?
First, I'll keep them in their shoes. That is, I can't share my emotions with them. I know that they're baby, but as a nurse, I try to make them warm up because losing your first child is very stressful and it is very bad type of emotion. So I'll try to prepare them for good journey, like you can try again. Or
can you be George, I understand. George, can you tell me action points? I understand you're telling plan of actions. Tell me action points, like anything. It can be simple thing. How will soothe them? How will it soothe them?
Can you repeat again?
No, I'm telling they are in sorrow. You are telling the plan of action. What you will plan, how will you help them? At that moment, tell me one simple action which will help them.
I'll stand with them. I can't cry with them because if I cry with them, that will show my sympathy. But
wow, George, I just wanted that answer only. You stand with the patient, extremely good. That's what I want. George, really great. Very, very happy for you, George. That's what I want. We stand with the patient. Thank you, George. Yes, I will tell you the real incident which actually happened. This is for a patient. They actually underwent the same incident. It's a true incident. They lost the first baby. They were crying with grief. They cried a lot. They couldn't able to console. The nurse on that particular shift, she was about to finish a shift by 8 o'clock. The baby was lost by around 4 o'clock. She was there in the shift. By 8 o'clock, she's supposed to leave the room and say bye to the team, bye to the family members and move. But what this nurse did is, she extended another 2 hours with the patient. She stayed in the room, consoled them. That is what is keeping out of the box. She was staying without anyone's, advice. She stayed, she helped, she supported, she was standing with them and talking to them and trying to help them with some prayers or giving some soothing words saying that you will be all right. This time will pass on. I am
Ma'am? Ma'am? Anbu ma'am? Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
No,
ma'am.
no, yes, ma'am. No, we can hear you.
Some network error happened. So now he changed the life of that man. What did he do? No, actually he left all the way. He was working in US. He left his job from US. He came to India and took up the role as a senior CEO, administrator of Apollo Hospitals, just because he wanted to serve healthcare industry. This has happened live because this is a true incident which has happened. So where this nurse has turned the life of an administrator. He was taking care of Pepsi company as a CEO. He came back from that company and he was taking up the role of a health administrator here. So he has given the live example of the nurse who was taken care of him in India, but he was working in US. He moved all the way from US. This is what is known as empathy, where a nurse has done an extra work for the patient, and additionally, this magic has happened. That's how each and every nurse has to have empathy. So one more case study I've put here for empathy. IV cannulation done for a mother in labor room. And what maximum can be done to help the mother? This is the routine thing which happens in all the hospitals, right? Every patient admitted in the hospital, you do the IV cannulation. Every patient admitted. Okay? So what maximum we can do? It is our routine, right? It is a routine. So we just insert, we cannulate, we see that it is rightly cannulated. That's it. So tell me how we can be so empathetic when you're doing a cannulation.
Ma'am, we will explaining it. It is a easy procedure.
Okay. That is explanation of procedure. Okay. How we can be more empathetic when you're doing the simple procedure I'm asking you? We cannot think beyond, no, right? Because empathy for IV cannulation, we would have never thought, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll tell you. I don't want to waste time here. Okay, so empathy for an IV cannulation. I would explain and I would like to quote an incident which happened in our unit here. Actually, in one of the wards, there was a nurse who was actually, she is not good looking. She's not fair enough. I mean, she's not looking with good complexion, and neither she's, appealing to look. But every time when we get feedbacks from the patients, we always get best feedbacks and good feedbacks mentioning the name of the nurse. So what happened is my nursing head, she was telling why this particular girl is continuously getting the feedbacks. Do an RCA, check what happened to that. What's really happening. So I was a deputy nursing head that time. So what I did is I just went with her. People doesn't know that I'm just walking along with her. I just casually went on a day. I was just walking with her. I was looking at the way she was working. She went inside the patient room. She was so soft, gentle, nice. Not. I mean, she was talking with the patient in a way such that they are their relatives. They never thought, she never treated them like patients. She was treating them like their relatives. First thing. Second thing is, she was doing absolutely an IV cannulation procedure. I was just quietly watching. I said that yes, her name is actually Geeta. I said, Geeta, you just proceed. Let me see. Then she didn't even bother about anything. She was just doing the IV cannulation procedure. She beautifully explained the procedure to the patient. She was telling that, sir, I'm just going to prick you now. I know it's going to be painful. I'm there to help you and support you. Please don't move the hand. The way she was explaining, it was so gentle and sweet. She inserted the cannula in the first prick. She done it. And then she secured the IV cannula also. Now she is supposed to check whether the patency of the IV cannula is good or not. Okay. What she did is she had a loaded NS of 10 ml. She's inserting and she's just pushing the IV cannula now, checking the patency. That's where I saw a beautiful reaction from that nurse. She's just patting. You see my hand? She's just patting the hand like this. She's moving and she's just blowing slowly to the hand. She's doing like this. Can you all see me what reaction I'm doing?
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
you're all seeing the screen on. You see, she's just blowing the hand with as if that it's not going to help in any way, that it is not going, the fluids are not going to go inside. There may be a clot or any obstruction, anything could be there, but still the way, the concern she was showing when she's flushing, that is what is empathy. Okay, she feels that the IV cannulation is done for a relative, maybe for her. And how we push, when we push the IV cannula, what is the reaction the patient will have? How much of pain the patient experiences? She understood the reality and she was helping. She was just patting the fingers. She was just moving the hand and she's just trying to blow it out, and she was just acting like a mother there. If she could act so good for an IV cannulation, so think about the action of her for the whole course of the day she is going to handle with the patient. That is what is empathy. That's the reason why she hello
Yes, ma'am.
guys, it is getting disconnected frequently. I don't know. I have a I think so.
Yes, ma'am, we can
Okay,
hear.
so this is what. Okay, this is what is I'm trying to explain you. Gain that empathy. If you are gaining that empathy, you can be in this nursing profession. If you can't gain this empathy, please quit the course and move on. You can be good engineers. You can be at any point. I mean, any lot of courses are there you can do. But if you wanted to be a good nurse, empathy is very, very important quality which you should possess. Okay. So take that in your heart when you are going towards your student period. Then if you are going into the clinical career, definitely it will help you. Okay, next is, I have done with empathy. I'm going to deal about another important key factor that will help in interpersonal skills. That is your teamwork. Teamwork will give you big results. If I'm a good nursing superintendent here, it is not going to help a lot. My team has to be brought along with me. When I have a good team, definitely my team is going to excel. And by the way, simultaneously, it's a vice versa. I will also excel. So what is teamwork? Teamwork is, there are 4 key parameters which are put into the key teamwork also. How a teamwork will look, or how a team will look. First thing is, if there is a team, for example, there are 20 nurses in the team. For this 20 nurses, there will be a junior most nurse with 6 months of experience. There will be a senior nurse who is having 10 years of experience. There will be a junior middle nurse, something she's having 2.5 years of experience. First thing is, always have trustworthiness and also believe them. Each one is unique and each one should be having the respect, trust and worthiness to them. You understand? A 6 months old nurse, it doesn't mean that she will not be knowing anything. What she knows may not be known to a 10-year experienced nurse. So you should have that worthiness to each and every team member. Never irrespect or underestimate anyone for any reason. So if you have the trustworthiness, automatically the team will build strongly. Each one should be valued. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Each one should be valued. When you're working in your as a team member among your college also, no, each one should be trustworthy. That's first thing we should keep. And second thing is readiness to accept people, because all are not the same. All figures are not the same, right? So few people will have a talent of observing quickly. Few people will not be doing excellent work. Some will have good communication. Some will be looking good. Some may not be looking good. So readiness to accept whatever it is, however they are. That is second quality you should possess for a good team or for good teamwork. And third thing is good communication. There should be a proper escalation. If one communication is given for one team member, it should automatically perpetuate to each and every team member. A strong communication link should be there among the team. That will play a major role, because if there is any gap in the communication, automatically the team cannot perform. So this third one is good communication among the team members. And the fourth one is adaptability. What is adaptability here is, suppose it's a 25-bedded hospital, 25-bedded unit, where I'm supposed to have 15 nurses, but I'm having only 10 nurses, or I'm having only 8 nurses in that shift. The team has to adapt to any situation. If an additional work or burden is given to them, or if an additional project is given to them, you should have good adaptability to any situation. If there is any praises to the team saying that you're doing a wonderful job, you have to take it up, and that adaptation should be there. If some errors are happening frequently among the team members, the doctors are starting to complain on the team. That time also you should not lose your heart and give up. You should adapt to that situation also. All these 4 parameters are very important for team working. Okay? So you understood, right? All these 4 parameters. You have good communication among the team members, readiness to accept, worth each and everyone. You should not underestimate or treat. Everyone should be treated equally and adapt to any situation. So this is out of my study which I have done. So these 4 parameters are very important for a good teamwork. So when you have this good teamwork, you can perform excellently. I've seen, magical results out of the teamwork which I have built in. So I will give you a case scenario here. Tell me, how will you handle this situation? A team of OT was continuously in stress because the unit had highest infection rates in a thoracic surgery performed. This is an OT. This is a thoracic OT, cardiac OT, where continuously for past 3 months, they see lots of infection happening in the ward. Post surgery, after the surgery is over, from the ICU, the patient is shifted to ward. Still, the infection rate is very high. That is evidently happening for past 4 to 6 months. So, if you are a nurse there, it can be a junior nurse, middle level nurse, or an in charge, or a senior nurse. How will you handle this situation when there is consistently infection rate is going down? What will you do? What will you do? Tell me. You have to act very smartly here. You should have a good team here. Then only you can get solutions for this. Raji, tell me, what will you do? Ajeshwari, can you hear me?
Ma'am, yes, ma'am.
What will you do in this scenario?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, please one more time, ma'am. I was just out. Yes, ma'am.
That's why I asked you. A team of OT was continuously in stress because the unit had highest infection rates in thoracic surgeries performed.
Yes,
There
ma'am.
is continuously infection rate is very high after the thoracic surgeries are performed. How will
Yes,
you
ma'am.
handle this situation? What will you do? Tell me.
So we have to maintain mainly the personal protective equipments we have to use, and the infection control team has to take some actions for the because of the infections
Okay.
getting
You
spread.
are the OT nurse there. You are scrubbing for the case. So you what
Yes,
do you do? Any of the nurses, any other students?
yes,
How
ma'am.
will you handle this? Any other answers?
We have to see why the infection is continuing. So we can do the culture and sensitivity for the patients. We have to find the reason why
Yeah,
it's.
correct. But how will you do it? There should be a process on it, you know. So okay, I'll explain.
Fumigation we have to
Okay.
do.
Okay. Fumigation everything will do. Still then the infection rate is not less.
Yes. Yes,
I'll tell you, this is actually a real incident which happened in our hospital. I was the nurse superintendent of the hospital that time. So when I was handling this situation, what I did is we called up all the OTT members and basically we were doing a discussion and we were the brainstorming session on what, why, how, what is the process? Is there any change in the medications what we do for the patient? Is we were doing a complete study of how many thoracic surgeries which has happened and where are the patients lying in, what is the age group, is there any diabetes which is influencing this infection rate, and where are we? And out of all this discussion, you won't believe there was one AN auxiliary nurse wife who has done only 1 year of nursing. She was standing in the corner of the room. She was telling, "Ma'am, I have one question." She was telling me this. I said, "Yes, please proceed with it." She was telling me, "I feel that we are not adequately using the antiseptic lotions in the ankle region of the patient because the surgeons focusing only on the thoracic region. So when we focus on the ankle, so I think there the infection is getting higher. Maybe I have also seen when bringing the patient the OT table, we are not prepared well." So she has given me this, and I have taken it very seriously actually. So what I did is I asked the whole OT team to follow this protocol of cleaning. I've informed the surgeons also, clean completely, even the ankle region, completely, underarm, everywhere you have to clean, and then see that the whole thoracic part is covered with betadine solution or the antiseptic solution before the surgeries. And the part preparation, I've informed the ward in charges pre-operatively. The part preparation also be done properly underarms. You won't believe it. The results are miracle. I have not seen any infection rates, anything next. And it is not there still now. If I would have underestimated that one auxiliary nurse midwife who has given an idea, our viewpoint about why what this change would have not happened in my thoracic coating. That is the difference here. So where we value each and every individual here and put in effort completely understanding each and every parameter, then I had the readiness to accept her. I had the willingness to communicate with the team members. And this communication was circulated to the old team members of the OD. Then this problem is solved. This is what is good teamwork. There where we stand. So this is where we are supposed to work as a team. So follow these qualities when you are having a team. Worthy, treat each every member, get the readiness, adapt to any situation, whatever happens, you will not be dissolved, and have that communication standardly maintained with each and everyone. Okay. So this is what is one thing. So I've given one more case scenario also for teamwork. A team of nurses were continuously affected by severe attrition in a hospital. However, the senior teams were continuously pushing the team. Still, there is attrition. So what can be done as a team to support each other? So this is actually a big team where a lot of nurses are working here, but attrition is inevitable. Most of them go abroad. We cannot stop them going abroad. Attrition is inevitable. So what is the plan? How a team can stop having, dipping the quality because of attrition. Quality cannot be compromised in a hospital for any reasons. So what we can do here is, what we did, I'm actually here. We started floating each and every nurses, 3 nurses in each department. For example, an emergency nurse, 3 nurses will be selected. An OT nurse, 3 nurses selected. Ward nurses will be selected 3. All these nurses, when the workload is very low, we started floating among the team members. When we started floating, we have a backup whenever there is a problem in emergency. OT nurse can come and help. An emergency nurse can go to ward. She can help. Here where we have to understand one thing, emergency nurses are not only emergency nurses, they are not secluded. They take it as a part saying that yes, this is my own hospital. Whenever there is a need, I am going to help. This is what is the change which we can make as a team. So that's how a team works. So these are the 4 parameters which I've explained. Keep that in your mind when you're working, any projects you're working, anywhere you're working, keep all these things in your mind. So it will help you to have good results and better results. The next part which I'm going to discuss is about decision making. So decision making is actually, it will not come all of a sudden in one single day. Decision making will happen out of your experience, out of your knowledge, and out of your system cue recognition. Cue recognition means there will be a 6th sense which will tell you that yes, what we are doing is right. It will come only out of experience. And when you are experimenting and doing it, you should do it in a systematic way. We are supposed to be doing it in an organized way. So these are the 4 things which you should keep when handling decision making. I've given a case study for decision making also. A newborn delivered in a busy day was noticed to have apnea. I believe you all know what is apnea. What is apnea?
Ma'am, losing its customer base.
Sorry? What is apnea?
Ma'am, losing the customer bases, ma'am, that workforce.
No, Baba, I'm giving a case study here. You just tell me a newborn delivered in a busy day was noticed to have apnea. What is the disease? What is the symptom called apnea? And unfortunately, the pediatrician is handling another sick baby. He couldn't be able to attend this particular baby. So what we will do? What nurses can do at this point? You should take a decision now because there is no one there to take care of the baby. Baby stopped breathing. Apnea means stop breathing. The baby is born now. The pediatrician is not around. He is handling another baby, sick baby. He couldn't able to come and take care of this baby. What will you do at this point? You should make a decision clearly now. What will you do? So this is what are the 4 parameters which I told. First thing is you should have good experience. She should have adequate knowledge and she should know that what is going to happen for the baby. First thing, she should have the knowledge to handle this newborn which stopped breathing. Second thing is additionally, she should have good experience in handling such babies, handling or giving a CPR or giving ventilation or putting the baby on a CPAP or anything. She should have experience and knowledge. And she should know if she's not going to do that. The cue recognition saying that the doctor is not going to come now. It's going to take another 2 minutes. If I'm not going to help the baby with any of the measures, definitely the baby is going to have lack of oxygen to the brain and the baby is not going to have good recovery. So these are the things she should know. And then she has to follow a systematic process. First thing is she has to know that to connect to the oxygen, you should connect to the monitor. You should know which medication should be given at first and call for help or raising a code blue. Like that, you should know to do it in a systematic way. This is what is proper decision making. When a particular decision, when a particular situation arises where you are supposed to take a decision, do it. Take it willingly. But keep in mind that you have to do it systematically and you should know what are the consequences if you are going to do it. And you should know, you should have good experience and knowledge in handling such situation. If you don't have experience, if you don't have knowledge, get the help of your seniors and go for it. This is what is proper decision making. So I have many scenarios for decision making. I'm not portraying all those things. I think I'll go to the next parameter, that is interpersonal skills. The last parameter which I'm going to discuss is interpersonal skills. I've discussed about all these parameters, communication, empathy, all stuffs I've spoken. But if you don't have interpersonal skills, all this is going to break down. Okay? Interpersonal skills means what? First thing is, most of the time you think that you talk to the people in a way that you wanted to talk is not the right way when you are there in an hospital setup. There is a professional way of handling people when we are talking here. So it is not like that you're talking to your friend zone, you're supposed to talk or communicate. These are the four keys which are supposed to focus when you're doing it. First thing is, always communication should be two-way. You should be a good listener. You should listen to them saying what they are saying, then only you have to go back and say and reply. And second thing is patience. Guys, this I've noticed in most of the nurses. They will not be good listeners. They don't have patience to, stand at that particular pace also. One short campaign we'll have every day between each shift. Campaign is nothing but 15 minutes of session between the sessions where they are supposed to, one leader will talk about one particular topic and it will be quick talks. That is what is campaigns will have. The nurse will not have that patience to stand in that place also, because she will not have that, she will do this, that, she will be diverted all the time. That will not build up the interpersonal skills. You should have good patience. And third thing is emotional stability. Emotional stability plays a major role in interpersonal skills, because you will be scrutinized, you will be criticized, you will be given positive feedbacks, negative feedbacks, everything will happen. You cannot perform all the times. You will have ups and downs in your career. You will be criticized. So at that particular moment, you are not supposed to put yourself low or down or depressed. You should have emotional stability to handle all situations. That will develop and definitely build up interpersonal good relationship. That will develop. Because if a doctor who is yelling at you on that particular day will become a good friend of you later on. If you have that emotion saying that, suppose the doctor is continuously yelling at you, you shouldn't react back and saying that I'm not a favorite nurse for him, that's why he's yelling. That's not the way to react, and you will become low when he comes for downs. That emotional stability is lost there. You should always have the same josh and positivity when handling difficult situations also. That will build interpersonal skills, interpersonal relationship. And additionally, we shouldn't be having a monotonous conversation always. We should have healthy, humorous behavior. It's not that mocking someone or physically abusing someone or talking unnecessary things will make that the environment itself little hazy. Healthy, humorous relationship is also important. These are few things which you should keep in mind when handling interpersonal skills. So here is one case study which I have put for interpersonal skills. Very interesting it is. Actually, you will undergo this even in student period also. A senior nurse is not happy with the junior nurse. This will happen with most of them. A senior nurse is not happy with the junior nurse with no reasons. You don't know what reasons only. She always avoids her and tries to put her on hectic duty hours. She will not give off. She will not treat her equally. She'll always try to put her in difficult situations. Suppose if a difficult patient is coming, a sick patient is coming, she will allot only to her. This is basically a problem with a senior nurse and junior nurse. Now tell me, how will you handle this situation? I can tell even for the students, a senior will not like the junior sometimes. The senior will always look at them with anger always, maybe like with some enmity. How will you handle that such situations? So when you know to handle such situations, you will definitely have good interpersonal relationship with everyone. Tell me now, this junior nurse, how she is supposed to handle this? This is a common scenario which we will all face. Or it can be for the teachers also, even for the tutors I'm telling. An MSc tutor may not treat the BSc tutor well. This happens in most of the culture. So how to handle this situation? When you know to handle this situation, you can survive in any of the places. Because I've seen many of the people doing this, and additionally, they become very good friends and they become a family member. Like a family member, they started interacting with each other. This situation is very, very important. You should know how to handle such problems. You will face it. Anyone? Anyone? Tell me, how will you handle this?
Ma'am, we will improve the activity in an efficient manner.
You will. Sorry, I didn't get you. Sorry.
Ma'am, we will improve the activity in an efficient manner and do it as the best. So that
You are already doing the best. You are already doing the best, but still she is not happy with you. She will not give you off. She will not consider you. She will not give best things to you. This is the most common problem which we face in any of the hospitals. So we see it, we know how to handle it. Anyone? No response from anyone. I could see names here like Anita Alex, Celine Rose. Anyone can answer here? Okay, first year boys, girls, just tell me how do you handle your seniors when you joined here? Someone would have poked you, someone would have treated you so badly. This would have happened. No. How did you handle girls? Tell me. How can you handle this patient? I mean, sorry, always my mind is for patient only. Tell me how to handle this situation. No one knows? Any of my friends can tell me?
Ma'am, we will go and speak directly to the senior nurse and we will explain that I am doing the correct one only and you are treating differently in a kind manner, ma'am.
That very good, very good. Great. But one thing which it's almost correct, but I will tell you practically what we can do. Okay. So first thing is that going on talking with the in charge is good thing that you will not try to avoid them. You will try to take and challenge them and talk to them. First thing is that yes, you have to talk to them. And second thing is never argue with them, fight with them for anything. And then most importantly, you have to be very smartly acting to this situation. So how did we face it and how did I handle? I'll tell you that. So when a senior is very unhappy with you and continuously mocking you, I started understanding which are the things she likes the most. Simple to simple. For example, if she likes fish curry, or if she likes a cotton saree, if she likes to wear a cotton saree, or if she likes to be appreciated in front of everyone, or if she likes to willingly come out and help, if she likes to say that I am there to help you, something like that, if she is willing. So I will just study about the character of my senior. I've done it actually, literally. I will do everything for her without she asks me to do. What will happen if a person is continuously bullying you, but still you are reacting very positively to them and you are not reacting negatively to that particular staff? And what will happen? Their inner feelings will definitely have that guilt saying that, yes, I'm not doing wrong for my junior. Never ever fight, argue, have an anger on them or bitterness on them, that will not help you or solve your problems. I've told all the junior nurses who are joining in the system, I'll tell them first thing is that accept, understand what is happening in the in that area, what is happening, you understand and accept the situation. Don't get away. Don't get into negativity. It will not help you. Okay? So what I did is, I will buy a nice gift on a birthday. I will give her a nice fish curry, make some nice fish curry and bring to her and say that, Akka, I just love to give to you. Can you just have it? So these are the ways where we can build the interpersonal skill relationship. Just understand and do practically simple things. When you do simple things, it will make a change. Actually speaking, that's what I'm trying to say. Nurses, we are working in a very hectic schedule. So when you are working in a hectic schedule, already we are stressed with patient work and other things. And I don't know, it is a problem with most of the nurses. Their family life is also most of the time and always in tension and not have time to spend with the family. Taking care of kids is not possible. They are already stressed at home also. So when their life in the area where they are working is also stressed, additionally, what will happen? You will spoil your health. Keep your environment happy. Work smartly. Try to help each other. That is what. If a senior wants something, make it in such a way, act smartly, and see that she is having good relationship with you. This is how we have to build relationships. Never get away from a problem. That's what I'm trying to say you. Face it. Accept it. And take it up and act smartly to the problem. In a way that what they wanted, you do it before they ask. That is the best way to handle any issues which is faced with people. That is the basic way to handle, because it's not going to happen only for the nurses. It may be with a doctor who is continuously irritating a nurse. It can also happen. Or a physiotherapist or senior physiotherapist who is coming down to the unit is saying that this patient is continuously complaining on this particular nurse. So they will start focusing on one particular issue which we are facing in. That's what I'm telling. Never get into negativity. Just address the problem and face it with positivity, and also accept it first. First, you should have that acceptance. That is what is known as tolerance. You should have the tolerance when you are there in the clinical setup. Guys, I'm just trying to give you the practical scenarios and practical situations how we faced. And this is a study we have basically done communication and healthy relationship among the team members. So these are the factors which are focused: communication, empathy, teamwork, decision making, and interpersonal skills. When you have all these 5 parameters, you will be a hero of the hospital. These are the 5 features which I have learned basically out of my experience. So I've learned each and every day, and I've put all my skills to it, and then I've gained a lot of good results out of it. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you also. You are all good, young nurses, you should try to practice all these things. Definitely it will help you all. And finally, one communication skill which I forgot to mention here, this will also help you in all the time. One communication skill which is very, it may not help in your professional life also. It will help you in personal life also. Can anyone tell me what is that communication skill which will help us? I've explained almost everything. Only one skill which I left out. Again, pin drop silence. Okay, time is up. I'll tell you. Silence. Silence is another communication skill which you all should possess. You should know when to talk, when not to talk. Keep quiet if you are not able to respond to the situation, but it doesn't mean that you have to put your head down. If you are quiet, address in a way saying that, yes, I'm quiet for a reason. I will come back to you. Silence is another communication skill which you all should possess. Because we sometimes talk unwanted things and we will be ending up in trouble. So better to keep quiet sometime. When a problem is happening, don't react immediately. Keep quiet take a pause, understand, and then you can react back or you can talk back. Silence is another important communication skill which you should all possess. So these are few things which I have discussed. These are few things which you should try to practice, which will help you, and also definitely in your personal life and also in professional life also. All this we are trying to implement, and we have faced so many problems in each and everyday life of nurses. Based on all these studies only, we have got this PPT presented. So I think so you understood how you have to work as a nurse and what are the problems you encounter during your clinical work, and how will you face it, what are the key factors we should keep in mind when handling patients, and how you have to do your regular practice. Hope you all understood things. Any doubts you have? You don't have any doubts, or you didn't understand anything?
Ma'am, we understood clearly, ma'am. And
Okay.
we able to know how to handle the situation in better manner.
Yeah, that is what is. Because I've given every practical situation here, hoping that it helped you all. Sorry, there was
Thank you,
an
ma'am.
yeah, Rajeshwari.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that's the session. My session is over. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. Say my wishes to ma'am,
Yes.
Jayasudha ma'am.
Yes,
I'm so happy that I could discuss many things to the forum here, but it got delayed in between because of the network connection. But what maximum which is needed for the team when they are getting into clinical practice, so that I've discussed, because these are all the problems which we encounter in our nursing team. So for the past 21 years of experience, these are the things which we were facing in and how we were tackling it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. I thank Mrs. Anbarasi Ramesh, ma'am, Nursing Supernan, Bangalore, Apollo Hospitals, Bangalore, because even she's in a busy schedule, she accepted our invitation to be the guest lecture. And she was very busy, I know, but even though a very short time. Yes, ma'am.
No, someone else is talking.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Guys, did you all understand? I don't know, I was boring or what, I don't know, because I was trying to explain whatever you will be encountering when you are becoming nurses. That's what I was discussing actually.
Yes, ma'am. It was an excellent session, ma'am. Really, the practical scenarios. Even we will have the theory sessions. You included a lot of practical experiences and scenarios, which they'll be going to deal in their future practice. So it will be helping the students really. Thank you so much, ma'am. I thank
you,
ma'am, also for giving me this opportunity to organize this guest lecture. And I thank all the students and the faculty and the teaching and non-teaching staffs for supporting to have this guest lecture on time. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, dear students. You are all the future nurses. Study happily. Take up your profession very seriously and study happily. All the very best to all of you. Bye.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.